Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering the amazingly epic Dreamworks film, The Prince of Egypt.
In ancient Egypt, Moses, the Prince of Egypt, learns that he's Hebrew and was born a slave. After leaving Egypt, meeting Jethro and marrying Tzipporah, Moses must return to Egypt to free his people with the hand of God to lead him. Now his former brother Rameses is now Pharaoh, and he won't honor God's requests. Now the real story begins.
Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates to future podcasts and multiple pause videos.
Absolutely.
And shout out to Richard the Imaginator, because today is his birthday!
Happy birthday, Richard!
Woo! You know, this is a movie you really love, so that this be perfect to have released on your birthday.
And thank you for requesting it. We watched it months ago. We really enjoyed it, as you will now learn.
Yeah. So, yes. We finally bought and watched the movie fully. We had actually seen part of it before when it was on Netflix, and
Just never finished.
yeah. And then when we wanted to go back, it looks like they removed the movie altogether. So we had to purchase the film to finish watching it.
And we had only watched maybe about 10 minutes, so
Yeah.
we really could not give a podcast on 10 minutes worth of movie. We really had to buy it and watch the entire thing.
Right.
I'm glad we did.
Right. And of course, we know the story of Exodus from the Bible. So seeing it on screen and not animated, not just with another version we've seen with Cecil B. DeMille when he did the Ten Commandments film. This one was done in almost a reimagining sort of way. They wanted to do it like a grand epic scale. This one had musical numbers, they have more fantastic things happen, and
They had changes into how the events happened.
right, and how fast it happened too.
Right, and how he met his wife. And I think this is interesting, this particular movie, because I'd always wondered and thought, well, what if Ramses and Moses got along? What if they were great brothers? And this really affected each of them in an extreme way. And as someone actually makes a movie with that thought in mind, so this was great when I saw it. I've always wondered. So this is a great way, as you said, imagining of how it would have played out, that they were close and they loved each other and really supported each other, and that it really tore each of them apart in this happening, but it was something that had to occur.
Right. And we definitely want to let you know that the movie does give you a warning, because the movie is incredibly successful for fans of Dreamworks and biblical movies. There are some people that are wondering why there's so many changes. But they do tell you, we can tell you right now, at the beginning of the film before it starts, they do tell you up front that this is a reimagining of the story of Exodus. They made some changes, added numbers and things to make it into a feature film and a story they think everyone will be interested in watching. But they wanted to keep still the essence of the events of Exodus intact. So if you want to be sure before you watch it, it's going to be a little different than what you read.
And if you haven't read it, then they direct you to where to go in the Bible to read it, so you will know how it's historically documented.
Right.
And another thing is, if we mentioned that it's beautifully done, it's really animated, and then deviating from the story is something that's done a lot in anime. I mean, we've learned that in anime you can have different versions of things happening within the same series. You can have an anime series being done one way, and then there's a live action movie, and then the stories change, characters change, characters are eliminated. But this is something that is traditionally accepted in Japan. It's a little different for us in America, and it's something we have to get used to, that every story isn't always going to be as it has been presented before.
Right.
Sometimes it's a new twist, new characters, a new plot, and this is really done in the vein of an anime movie.
Right. And we had also mentioned, we actually had covered another Dreamworks film where they adapted another biblical story, and it looks like they had stopped after 2. After Prince of Egypt did so well, they decided to do Joseph, King of Dreams,
which we also have a podcast for.
Right. And it's a very excellent film, but we think it's pretty underrated because it's completely different from Prince of Egypt.
And if you want to know why, watch our podcast. It'll be attached here in a card where you can click the link, and you'll know why we love it and why you should watch that movie.
Right.
As well.
And the main thing about both of them is that Joseph kept true to the story to a T. There was like barely a difference between the biblical events and the adaptation. There was barely a difference. But when they get to the Prince of Egypt film, it's a grander scale. Like I said, it's going to be turned into a Broadway musical, so it's a grander thing. It's bigger events. The plagues has its own number. There's more action and drama and stuff happening, while Joseph kept it as is and let the story and is at his own drama. So I think that's probably why a lot of people have not heard of or point out Joseph, because I think they like have more attention towards the action-oriented take on the story rather than it being the line for line, event for Joseph.
Right, but it is a great movie, both by Dreamworks. You should watch both.
Okay.
Now, to the cast of this movie, great voice acting cast was posted out. We've got Val Kilmer as Moses, who that really shocked me because I never would have dreamt of him being cast, but he did an excellent job. Rafe Fiennes as Rameses.
Right. We have Michelle Pfeiffer as Tzipporah.
And you know her, of course, from Catwoman and many other movies.
Jeff Goldblum as Aaron.
Sandra Bullock as Miriam.
Danny Glover as Jethro.
Which was a shock for us, because usually I can pick out Danny Glover's voice. This time I didn't get it. But I did know Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart, as Seti.
And they also had Steve Martin and Martin Short as
Hotep and Huey.
Yeah,
and they were great together. As
yeah,
they usually are.
They actually really fit. So
Helen Mirren as the Queen, and Afra Haza, who I was really surprised that I have actually listened to music by Afra Haza. She actually used to do dance music, very awesome dance music, and to hear that she was Jochebed, I was really surprised to see that.
Right.
And then she actually does sing a song in this movie as well.
Yes. Definitely want to point that out next, is that the music is very well done. There are lots of numbers that we didn't expect to be in different parts of the events. Like, we expected one, in the opening, like when Moses put into the basket into the river. Of course, there was a song there. Like, there was one about him finding out that he's a Hebrew. There's one where he doesn't know who he is anymore. Then there's one with he's with Jethro. And then they even have one for when they had the 10 plagues.
And that is my favorite.
That's the best one.
Yes, that is my favorite out of all of the songs in the movie.
Right. And then, of course, like it got like towards the end, they had, of course, When You Believe in Miracles. And that's one of the more popular ones besides the plague one. Because I think the plague one is just such an epic, an epic orchestrated number that it really, engraves an impression on you. And then when You Believe one is very uplifting and inspiring. And you mostly hear that one when you like watch a trailer or you hear the soundtrack to it. It's usually the first song you hear. So it's got some very great numbers in here. Great, very great performers. They even have Whitney Houston do the song I mentioned. So they have lots of great artists and singers do these songs. So I can only imagine they're going to have when they get to the Broadway version.
And it's interesting that DreamWorks chose not to venture any more into biblical movies because they did a great job with both of these. As you mentioned, even though, they are two different ends of the spectrum, one that sticks to the story almost exactly, pretty much exactly, and one that takes creative license. They did a great job with both. But for whatever reason, they chose not to continue. I would have loved to have seen some of the stories done by them, whether it's to the book or the creative take they took on it. So maybe one day in the future they'll choose to do another. But for this one, they did a great job. And one part that sticks out, one difference that sticks out in this movie is that the women were more in the forefront of what happened in this story. The mom, the sister, the wife, the girlfriend, the wife he ends up with.
Yes. The queen.
Thank you. The queen. They had more, they were in the forefront, and you got to see more input and the spin on how they were instrumental in the destiny being played out.
Right. And even when they had up to when they were being led out of Egypt, they even made that into more of an epic event. There was no song number in there, but they made sure you knew how high the stakes were when Ramses went after Moses. And when they had the part where they had the burning bush, it was done more in almost like in a Aurora Borealis style. They have the burning bush there, but when it got to God explaining what he wanted Moses to do to free his people, they made it into more of a vision. Like they're having like a more spiritual experience, and it's considered one of the best, animated scenes ever, just for the music and the visuals and everything. So it was like when you watch like the Ten Commandments movie, you got everything you needed just from the burning bush and the voice. That was enough of an impact. But since it's animation, they could do even more than just that. You had the voice, you had his commands, you had the bush, but they took it and made it even better.
Special effect, right? And getting back to the women, in this version, instead of Aaron accompanying him as in the original story and being there to actually be the one to speak in the biblical story, but in the Ten Commandments, Moses was speaking, Aaron supported him, did the wonders with the rod. In this one, Aaron was afraid, and Aaron did not support him. And Aaron pretty much, in this one, Aaron ended up being a slave that worked in the fields building the bricks.
Yeah.
From mud and
mud
straw.
And straw, yeah.
And the sister is the one who was telling Aaron, he's our brother, support him. She believed in him. She supported him. And then when he ended up marrying Tzipporah, and she was the one instrumental in this version in getting him to go back to Egypt, and she accompanied him instead of staying back with the son. And his sister and his wife are the two who were the ones who accompanied him and supported him. So again, it was a different take on the story,
right?
With having the women in the forefront.
Yeah, so that was a pretty interesting take on it from what we've seen from the other film and reading the story itself. So that was an interesting spin.
Definitely.
And like we said, all the songs were really great. Even they had, of course, their one villain song, which was really, really great. It's always like a fun villain song in these movies, which is hilarious.
And the funniest number is the one with Steve Martin Short.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that's a lot of fun. Yeah.
And then to do all that, and then the snake gets eaten anyway. It's like, what happened to playing with the big boys? All of a sudden, it's gone. I thought you said it was greater. Well, you just wasted a number on this.
Pat themselves in the back or this or that. Woo!
And then gone. It's like, well, so much for that. Now your song is null and void.
But it's beautifully animated. Interesting take on the story. As you said, beautiful numbers. And just a beautiful movie to watch. Dreamworks, for me, and I think for Rascal as well, I think there's one or two movies. Which movie is it that we don't care for that Dreamworks has done?
I think it was Home. Was it Home?
Home was okay. It was another one.
It was okay. I'm not sure, because there's rarely something from Dreamworks we don't like.
And
so
what we're trying to say is that except for one movie, which we can't even think about it, so it really means that we don't care for it. Every movie Dreamworks has made, we love. And we appreciate the time they put into it, the effort they put into each movie, the beauty of the animation and the storytelling, and how each movie they make is different from anything they've made before. And on top of that, any movie that they make is different from anything else that's out there by any other studio. Dreamworks is brilliant at finding a diamond in the rough, at taking a piece of coal, meaning a story that might not be so great, and just putting writers on it and making the story extraordinary, and then putting the visuals to it that make it amazing. They're great at picking songs when they do have songs in movies that really fit the story that's going on, that really works within the framework of the movie, and it doesn't seem like it's just something they just put in there so they can get you to dance or keep your attention like someone else says.
Right.
The songs and really seem to be perfectly suited for each movie. Dreamworks is brilliant in animation and in movie making. And if you are not a Dreamworks fan, they've got an entire catalog of movies that you can watch. If you've got Netflix, the majority of DreamWorks movies are on Netflix for
Right.
you to see, and you'll just love learning more about DreamWorks through the movies that you watch that they've done. And they also do Netflix original series like Voltron, Troll Hunters,
She-Ra, Kipo, Fast and Furious. Yeah,
Stretch
quite,
Armstrong.
Yeah, Stretch Armstrong. Yeah, they got so many on there, so they got a plethora of shows and movies to see.
And this movie is just one of those gems that lets you know DreamWorks is going to be around for decades and decades to come.
Yes.
So if you've seen this movie, let us know what you think in the comments below.
Right.
What was your favorite music number? Did you see it when it originally came out? Or was it recommended to you by a friend like it was for us?
Right. And Richard, definitely tell us what you think, because we know how much you really love this movie. So we definitely want to hear your thoughts and comments on it.
And we hope you have an awesome, wonderful, terrific, outstanding, spectacular birthday. Full of lots of love and joy and happiness and fun.
Right. Oh, and be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on future podcasts and World of Pawns videos.
Yes.
So thank you so much for watching. I'm Oscar Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. With her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket.